Minimalism. Take one. Get rid of all your cups and invest in some really, really small ones. That's just a joke. Minimalism, or as essentialism, as I mentioned in the past video. Here's some tips on how we can start to bring more minimalism into our lives. So step number one is I really like to understand what minimalism or essentialism actually means, and then why we would want to bring some of that into our life. Sometimes when we think of minimalism, we just think of getting rid of things, but what we really want out of it is we want to find what's actually important to us in our lives and what actually brings us joy, fulfillment, and cut it down to those basic things, right? So we'll talk about material things, but then also any aspect of life, right? The journal prompt that I love, I use this all the time. Some of you guys email me, ask how I journal. This is something that I always come back to, is we go through what are my values, right? I like to think of this as a whole, but then also break it into subcategories of what do I value for my health? What do I value for my work? What do I value for my relationships? And then what do I value for my lifestyle? You can think of it as leisure if you want. But we go through each category and we see what are the main values that are there for me in my life? What do I really want to put my focus into in these things, right? Now, when we look at our life, and we look at the time that we're spending doing different things, we're looking at the material items that we're bringing in, we can see, is this aligning with my values? And if it isn't, then something, either I'm not really clear on my values, or I'm bringing things into my life that don't line up with my values, and I can choose to not bring those in, right? Like, take a different path. So this is really extremely important, and I encourage you to actually write it down, right? A lot of people just, well, I'll just think of it in my mind. It's not super clear unless you take some time for yourself and write these things down. We do this in all our primal athlete coaching. This is one of the things we do very early on because, you know, this aligns with movement and exercise so much. What do I value for my body? Well, I really value feeling good and feeling healthy. And then we look at what we're doing, and I'm bench pressing every day and my shoulder, and it causes shoulder pain. Well, those don't align, right? So we can bring something back into alignment. And the same goes with, I really value spending quality time with my family, but I'm watching 2 hours of TV a night. Well, those don't really align because that TV probably isn't the quality time with the family. So where can we make a course correction? Very, very simple. I know this maybe isn't the exciting part, but this is the important stuff. And I really encourage you to take some time and get clear on it. Now we'll hop into more exciting stuff, okay? Let me take a sip. So this tip, man, this is what really, really fueled me into being more minimalist and engaging in this lifestyle. And it was going backpacking. Well, we can talk about backpacking in multiple ways here, but the first one that I'm referring to is like actually backpacking, hiking, going to set up camp, camping out, continuing on. Man, like backpacking frees your mind from attachment like nothing else, right? I'll speak for myself. That's what it's done for me. To have like this pack that just has all the essentials that you need to make it through the next few days or the next night or whatever. That's all that your mind becomes focused on, right? Sometimes when I've mentioned this before, but sometimes when we're like too comfortable, then it allows the mind to go seeking for problems that somebody didn't like your Instagram post, you know, like that, like these things that they don't matter, right? When we're out in nature and we're in more of this survivalist type mode, like your mind will get very, very clear. Once again, I'll speak for myself. My mind gets very, very clear. I'm focused. I can think more creatively, and I'm only looking at what's in front of me and the task at hand, right? And sure, I can daydream and wander, but it's in a much more positive way. If you've never backpacked before, I would encourage trying it out. Now, it does obviously, you know, we're talking about minimalism but my first tip is you have to go buy some shit, right? You gotta go to the store, you gotta buy yourself a backpack, you gotta have a tent to sleep in, you know, do some research. but maybe you have a friend you can borrow some stuff from to see if you actually like it. But these days, a lot of these things are becoming so accessible. You can get some inexpensive gear and go try it out and see how it feels. I'd recommend starting with like a one-night trip, but for me, 2 nights is where the money's at, right? Or more. If I can get away for a whole weekend, it's that it takes me a full day to drop in, and then it's that second morning waking up, or that second day walking around, the mind just starts to drop everything from this outside world. I feel like very present, and then after that second night waking up, feel very, very free. I also mentioned we can talk about backpacking in multiple ways. Another way that I have done before as well is to travel to a different country with just a backpack. I did this for about half a year in Latin America. And of course, this is the same type of experience, right? Now maybe you have some shelter, but living for half a year with just a backpack, like you really get clear on what's important to you, Obviously, you don't have to go so big, but taking a little trip somewhere, right? Even if it's not out of the country, like something else that I would do quite often is I'd go visit buddies with just pack up a little small backpack and go for a long weekend, and it'll get you in this state of like, okay, like this is what I need for the next few days, right? This is all that I need. You'll start thinking in a way of like what's essential to you. And that's what all this is just trying to guide you into really like seeking what is of value to me in my experience of the world, and getting really, really clear on, do I need these things? What's the fluff that's going on in my life that isn't so important, and being able to kind of bring yourself into, these are the things that fulfill me. Next tip, this is something that took me a while to get my head around. But when you do buy something that you believe in. Buy quality, buy local, invest in brands that have a message that you actually dig, that you're like proud to give your money to. When we buy things, this is all it really is an exchange of energy. You investing your energy, like you want to give your energy to something that makes you feel good, right? And so that makes you feel proud of this exchange here, right? Like I said, this took me a while to learn. Like I remember years ago, I would buy really cheap headphones. And I remember at points like having like 4 pairs of these cheap headphones, because like this one of the ears cuts out sometime. These ones I like, but they fall out when I do exercise. So these ones are my exercise ones. These ones I like to use when I study. It's just like, dude, with all of this time spent on ordering these things, all this excess packaging that I'm bringing into my life and everything, could have just invested in one nice pair of headphones that would be with me like all the time, right? And would probably last a lot longer than these more inexpensive ones. Speaking of headphones, if you guys want to know what headphones that I like using, let me know in the comments below, because I've been through a few pairs, and obviously I use headphones when I move around a lot and whatnot. So I've gotten really into like which ones are really dialed in. So let me know. So really what I find is this is a investment of some time sometimes, some research, finding out what brand is making a good quality product for this. Is this brand something cool? Is this brand just like a cash grab, something that just wants my money and isn't really putting out a quality product? Or is it something that is really cool and that I believe in, and they're really like trying to make a difference in the world, or whatever it is? So yeah, invest some time. And maybe this means that you can't just get the thing that you want right away. Maybe you have to save up a little bit of money for it. But saving up money, like, I don't know if you remember as a kid saving up money to go buy something. You really value that thing that you buy if you have to wait for it a little bit, if you have to put in some work to get it. So really easy minimalist tip right there. Last tip is, going back to the journal prompt, really examining, what are you spending your time on? What are you spending your money on? And looking, do these things align with my values. It's so easy to fall in line with just what everybody else is doing around you. The thing is, in this world, is it can be really easy to get mixed up in what the masses are doing. And here's the thing, how we are of value to big business in this world is if we just keep giving them our money and we just throw our money at the things that they're flashing in front of us, right? Like I mentioned before, I have no problem with buying things. I'm actually not a minimalist, right? I like some things in my life, but sometimes it takes being the one who's a little bit weird, who's a little bit different, who's not going to just go throw my money to this company or this whatever because that's what everybody else is doing. So, what I suggest is start examining where that flow of money, where that flow of energy, time, focus is going in your life, and see where we can make some cuts, right? Maybe instead of going out to eat, going out to drink with your friends every weekend, spending a whole bunch of money on that, maybe you can find a different way to connect with your friends that doesn't involve spending so much money, and then maybe you can use that money to go invest in an experience. Maybe there's an author that you really like or somebody that you follow online. They're doing a workshop. Go do that. These are the things that will really, really change your life. This is, for me, when I actually started investing in my education. And I don't mean education in school, I mean education in coaches that I've really liked, just thinkers, doing courses, doing programs, doing live events or virtual events now in these COVID days. This is like the things that really started to change me. And like nowadays, my money flows to people who have inspired me, people who have taught me things. Like, that's where I want my energy to go. Teach me more. Let me be around you. Let me just soak up the knowledge that you have by just doing what you're offering, right? That's where a lot of the value is found. So minimalism, essentialism, some easy tips. A lot of it comes with reflection, and a lot of it comes with getting clear on what you want for your life, right? That's all that minimalism, essentialism really is finding out what's important to you. Done.